level of goodwill in society goes up, and even if it only goes up a little bit, it still makes society a much better place to live. It's no coincidence that the world's major religions, at least most of them, have been encouraging this spirit of goodwill towards other people for thousands of years, because that makes for a better society for everyone, even if you only influence people to do it a little more. So, what does it mean when powerful social institutions start telling people that you're not supposed to share, that it's wrong to share? They are poisoning this vital resource, something that society cannot afford. And what does it mean when they say, if you give a friend a copy of a program, you're a pirate? They're saying that helping your neighbor is the moral equivalent of attacking a ship. That's what pirates do. They attack ships. That is morality backwards, because attacking a ship is very, very bad, but sharing with other people is good. And what does it mean when they start making harsh punishments for people who share with their neighbor? How much fear do you think it's going to take before everyone is so scared that they never help each other anymore? And do you want that level of fear to be introduced into your society? In Argentina and in Germany, they have even taken this to the point, which I can only call a terror campaign. They have threatened people with being raped in prison if they use unauthorized copies of software, which shows just how far they're willing to go in barbarity to get their way, to impose their power on the rest of society. I think we should reject their terror campaign and put an end to it. And that's the basic idea of the free software movement. That's the explanation for freedom number 2, the freedom to help your neighbor by distributing copies to others. Freedom 1, the freedom to help yourself by studying the source code and changing it to do what you want. That's necessary for a different reason. That's so that you can have freedom individually in running the program on your computer. You see, if you have this freedom, then you control what the program does. If you don't have this freedom, then you don't control it. The developer controls it, and the developer thus has power over you when you are using that program. The developer controls what happens when you run that program. You don't. So in order for you to have this basic freedom to control your own computer, you must have freedom 1. There are quite a number of non-free programs that contain malicious features. Features deliberately introduced not to make the program serve you, but rather to spy on you, restrict you, control you, or interfere with you. For instance, a program as common as Windows XP spies on the user. It's not the first version of Microsoft Windows to do that. Several years ago, Microsoft set up Windows so that it would mail to Microsoft a list of what's installed on your disk. There was an outcry about this, and they took the feature out. And then a few years later, they snuck it back in. And to make it hard to spot, they had it send the information encrypted so that you couldn't tell what was going on just by looking at the network traffic. So people had to do some work rather cleverly to figure out that Windows XP, whenever it asks for an upgrade, reports first exactly what's installed on your disk. But Windows is not the only program that spies on you, because Windows Media Player also does. Every time you look at something with Windows Media Player, it reports who you are and what you're looking at, spying on you all the time. But lest you think that this practice is limited only to Microsoft, Real Player also spies on you the same way, and the TiVo spies on you the same way. people were excited a few years ago because the TiVo uses a lot of free software, but it also has non-free software in it, and it spies on you. Spying is not the worst that it gets. There are many programs which are designed to stop you from doing some of the things that they're designed to do. These features are often referred to as DRM, Digital Restrictions Management. You know, that the program is designed for accessing certain kinds of documents or files, but refuses to let you do it. It may be a DVD player and says, sorry pal, you live in the wrong part of the world, I won't let you play this DVD. That's one example, but the restrictions can become very complicated and atrocious. It's not limited to that. Some non-free programs change your computer setup so that it will display ads for you all the time from then on. And they don't tell you this. They figure you won't know where it came from. And some of them get even more bizarre. For instance, the Kazaa music sharing software is designed so that they can sell time on your computer as part of a distributed computing scheme. And they never told the users that the program would do this, but when it was found out, they pointed at their end user license, which basically said they could do almost anything in the world, and said, you see, the users already said yes to this. Not specifically, though. That's the way they act. They put in malicious features and then they say, read the fine print. You said we could put in any kind of malicious feature we want. When Windows XP asks for an upgrade, the upgrade server could theoretically give you a different upgrade from what it gives to everybody else. So even if Windows doesn't contain a backdoor in the strict sense of the term, the upgrade server could be used to introduce one into your machine at any time, or introduce anything at all into your machine. When you use non-free software, specifically when you don't have Freedom 1, you are forced to put blind faith in the developer of the program, and as you see, some of them clearly don't deserve it. Now, I won't say that all developers of non-free software introduce malicious features deliberately. Some don't. But they're all human, so they all make mistakes. We free software developers make mistakes too. But the difference is, when you don't have Freedom 1, you can't fix their mistakes. You are the helpless prisoner of their decisions and all their detailed choices, whether it's a mistaken choice of features or just a foolish, silly error that we all make. You're stuck with it. You're helpless. You're a prisoner of your software. But when you do have Freedom 1, you can correct any mistake that I make. You're in control of the program when it's running on your machine, and you can make it do what you want. But Freedom 1 is not enough. Freedom 1 is the freedom to personally take control of what the software is doing on your computer. But it's not enough because, first of all, there are millions of users who don't know how to program, and they can't personally take advantage of Freedom 1. But even for us programmers, Freedom 1 is not enough because there's too much software. Nobody has time to study all of these programs and master them all so as to be able to make the changes he or she wants in all these programs. So we need more. We need Freedom